Hi, it's Annette at needlepointers.com. My favorite pot holders made with towel fabric are stained and worn out. In fact, most of my pot holders are old and need replacing. So today, I decided it was time to make something for myself, some new pocket towel pot holders for my kitchen. The design for this quilted pocket pot holder is really pretty simple. Just a rectangle with rounded corners and a pocket on the front. The edges are all finished with binding tape. This pot holder measures approximately 7.5 inches by 9.5 inches, which gives good coverage and plenty of room inside the pocket for your hand. The 2 layers of toweling provide good protection against a hot pan, and the loop at the top makes it easy to hang the pot holder from a hook. So let me show you how to make this pot holder from an old towel in just a few simple steps. What you need to make a pocket towel pot holder is an old towel, scrap cotton fabric, fabric marker, scissors, ruler, rotary cutter and mat are optional, sewing clips, and basic sewing supplies like a sewing machine, pins, thread, iron, and ironing board. The first thing you need to do is to cut the pieces for the pocket towel. From the towel, cut 2 pieces, each measuring 7.5 inches by 9.5 inches. From the cotton or scrap fabric, cut 1 piece 7.5 inches by 7 inches for the pocket, 1 piece 1.5 inches by 7.5 inches for the pocket edge, and 1 piece 1 3/4 inches by the width of the fabric for the binding. Next, you need to quilt the 2 towels together. Stack the 2 towels together and pin them in a few places. I am using a 1.5 inch diagonal grid for my quilting design. With a ruler and a fabric marker, I am drawing a 45-degree line on the top of the towel. At the sewing machine, after lengthening the stitch slightly and also placing a stitch guide 1.5 inches from the needle, begin to stitch along the drawn line. Then, using this as my guide, I'm going to continue to stitch parallel lines across the towel. Once I have all the lines this way stitched, I am going to turn the towel, again mark a diagonal line at a 45-degree angle and stitch in the other direction. Let me continue to do this and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. Trim the threads when the towels are completely quilted. This is my finished quilted towel. Now we're going to finish the pocket top. Take your 1.5 inch piece and with an iron you need to fold it in half first, then fold the raw edges in towards the center, fold it in half again, and press it firmly so you have some crisp creases in it. Now take your pocket piece, flip it over to the back, line up the accent piece along the raw edges, and what you're going to do is you're going to stitch right in that crease. Now you can pin it if you want, but I'm just going to eyeball it and do it and stitch along there. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to fold it over the edge, and you may want to trim it just slightly so it goes over the edge well. So I'm going to just trim it a little bit because I don't want the stitches to show on the front. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to fold it over to the front and stitch close to the inside edge. Okay, the top of the pocket is finished. Position the pot holder pocket on top of the quilted towels with the bottom and the sides aligned. Pin in a few spots. Now we're going to round the corners. To round them, place a plate, a CD, or another object that's rounded on the corner and mark it. Then, using a scissor, cut away the excess fabric. Do that on all 4 corners. After rounding the 4 corners, go to the sewing machine, set it for a zigzag stitch, and zigzag around the outside of the pot holder. This will make it easier to attach the binding later on. Binding tape is sold in packages at fabric stores, but you can make your own. To make the binding, take the 1 3/4 inch strip, fold it in half lengthwise, and iron, forming a crease. Open the fabric and then fold one side in until it meets the middle at the crease and press. Continue down the entire length of the strip, folding and pressing. Then, once you have that side done, you're going to then fold the other side in and again press all the way down. Have you ever looked closely at the binding tape that you buy in the fabric store, in the packages? Here I wanted you to notice how one side is just slightly wider than the other side. So we're going to do the same thing when we make our binding tape. We're going to fold it in half, but leave about a 1/16 of an inch wider on the one side. And I like to use some Mary Ellen's Best Press to help press it because it will be much crisper edge. So, as you can see, I've folded it and one side is just slightly wider than the other side. To cover the raw edges of the pot holder, we'll use the single step binding technique, which is just to sandwich the raw edges of the pot holder between the folded tape and sew it on. Using this technique, open the binding and slip the folded tape with the narrower side on top around the raw edge of the potholder, starting in the center top. The wider side of the tape should be along the back of the potholder. Use sewing clips or pins to secure the binding in place. As you are attaching the binding to the potholder, wrap the binding smoothly around the corners. Continue working in this way around the potholder until you reach the start of the binding. When you get back to the beginning, allow the tape to overlap slightly to hide the raw edge and leave a 3.5-inch extra tail. With thread that matches the binding, use an edge stitch to sew the binding in place. Begin where the binding overlaps. And to edge stitch, you stitch very close to the inside edge here. As you're stitching, since this is the narrower side, it will catch the back and the front with one row of straight stitching. Do this carefully, don't try to go too fast. When you have stitched all the way around and are back at the beginning, continue stitching a straight stitch along the extra tape. Fold the tail end back on itself about 1/4 inch and then place it on the back of the potholder, and we're going to then sew this in place. Go back and forth a couple of times. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make a quilted pocket potholder from an old towel. Please like, share, and comment. Subscribe to our channel and follow us on Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Also, visit our website, needlepointers.com, for lots of free sewing projects and tutorials. While you are there, sign up for our newsletter so you don't miss future videos.